Hey you guys, my name is Nala and I am the lovely owner of Love.nxlaa. Welcome back to my channel. Before we get into this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also make sure you like, comment, and share with your aunties, your uncles, your cousins, and join me down the block. Without further ado, let's hop into this video, shall we, my loves? Haven't done my intro in a minute. I know. We're not even gonna go through the rundown anymore. School, work, life happens. So we're just gonna exclude all of that from the equation and just focus on this video. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm gonna be sharing some ways in which you can get your passport. If you are someone who is traveling ASAP and forgot that their passport expired, this video is for you because I'm gonna give you different ways on how to get your passport expedited, especially when you are on crunch time, because that trip is in a couple of weeks and you need your passport. So let's get into the tips. All right, so a little background story. Around April, I applied for a third job. You know, it was the duration of a month. However, of course, when applying to a new job, that means you have to do onboarding. So upon getting the information that I needed, of course, onboarding, they need all of your identification. And when I say all, I mean all. On a nice Sunday afternoon, I was like, you know what, let me get this done because it's due in 2 days. I might as well just turn it in early enough. And I went, got my passport, got my license. Without looking, took a picture of it and then sent it over to the onboarder. And then within an hour, I get an email. Hey Nala, sorry to inform you, but your passport and your license is expired. Can you send over other documentations that's needed for your onboarding? Thank you. Now y'all, we've been in that panorama for a good minute now. At this point, it's just a way of life. And I wasn't traveling anywhere because we were in a panorama. So I wasn't looking at my passport to see if it had expired, if it was coming up on the expiration date, nada. So looking at the expiration date, I looked down and it says expired in June 2020. Babe, we're in 2022. With the whole passport situation, I really didn't think none of it because I had my other forms of identification, so I just sent that over and went on about my marriage. Now, vacation was in the air. Here comes the day I come home from work not knowing anything that's going on. They're like, yeah, we're setting up the trip. We're gonna be going to St. Martin's. And I'm like, okay. But my passport is expired. And it's like, yeah, you don't really have to worry about it. You just need your birth certificate to get into the country. Okay, cool. I mean, so I can just do my passport another time. I don't have to worry about it. Was I wrong? One night, again, I came home from work. My dad goes, go look up if you need your passport to get to St. Martin's. And I'm like, okay. I look it up. It said that you technically don't need a passport. You just need your birth certificate and I think like a form of ID. He calls me back in and he's like, call the hotel and see if you need your passport. I'm like, okay. So I gave them a call and I said, hey, do you guys require a passport to get into the country? She said yes. I started searching, I started looking, I started doing everything. So here is where the tips come in for you. Number one, if you've never had a passport before, you would need to fill out, if I'm not mistaken, fill out the DS11. Boom. Second way, if you need a renewal, you will have to fill out, if I'm not mistaken, the either 82. That's the form you need to fill out because that is the paperwork needed to fill out for a new passport. That form is a renewal if you already have a passport. That standard shipping for that, I believe, 8 to 11 weeks. For expediting, it takes 5 to 7 weeks. It might be different now since, COVID is still a thing. Now, for me, that wouldn't have worked because I wouldn't have gotten my passport on time. I'm gonna take you through all the things that I did to get my passport expedited before my trip. I was looking. I live in New Jersey, for those who don't know. So I was looking for different passport agencies. For me, the closest agencies for me, since I live in New Jersey, is New York and Philly. Now, this is where it gets tricky. So we called New York and they're like, for expediting, you have to come make an appointment 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks before your trip, and then they'll give you a date within those 2-week time period. So they can give you an appointment 2 days before, a day before, whatever. It's up to whatever that they have open. I do recommend calling early in the morning. Reason being, there are so many people calling to get their passport expedited because no one, literally no one was looking at their passport during a pandemic. Everybody's trying to get in, and I'm telling you right now, you cannot go in person and think you're gonna stand on that line and go into them people offices or building and think you're just gonna walk in so you can get the information you needed to get your passport. It's not. I'll be talking about that a little later on my experience, but don't think you can do that because it's not gonna work. You have to call and make an appointment. If not, you just won't get your passport. And that's just that on that. I did that for New York, and they opened up 8. Me, I was on that line at 7:55, and I was waiting until the clock said 7:59 because you have to press 1 for the operator and all that. Yeah, so by the time I went through that whole process, it was 8 o'clock and I was on the line to get to somebody. Now, I've seen different videos of people saying how like they were on the line for like 6 hours, but I feel like that's if you wait until like the afternoon hours, like later on in the morning. If you call first thing, you're gonna, and by the grace of God, every time I called, I was able to get a representative each time. The waiting time, the most I think I waited was like 5 minutes. So with that being said, I'm telling y'all, they open up at 8, be on the line. So then after that, they are going to tell you like the forms that you need. Me, I did every form in the book. I did the DS-87, the 82, the 84, the DS-11, 12, 13, 15, 18, 25. I did all of them, so they couldn't say you don't have the right paperwork. So when calling New York, we spoke to different representatives. They told you, yeah, you could call 2 weeks before to make your appointment, which I did. And they also set up an appointment for me. However, when speaking to someone else, I got a different response. I came across someone stating how they spoke. Now, this is the only person. She said that her friend had spoke to her senator and he was able to get it expedited. And I was like, you know, it doesn't hurt to try. I spoke to the people that work in the senator's office. I was in communication with them, and he was a blessing. Shout out to you if you come across this video somehow. When you go to your senator's page, you know how people I guess for like town hall and town meeting, and they have like complaints and stuff like that, they'll make you write in the box like what it is you're asking for and what it is you want to speak to somebody about. So I did that, and they'll give you a drop down box. I pressed other, and I put passport, and I put in my whole spiel that I told you guys earlier and how I was going on a trip. So they emailed me back within 2 days. They had me fill out this form. It's just like a consent form stating that you're filling out this form for your passport and it's for it to be expedited. You have to put your basic information, your name, social security, where you live, your email, the best contact phone number, and the reasoning for your passport renewal or whatever the case may be. With that being said, you need to have all of your information ready, because after I sent him that form, he needed my itinerary. Technically not where you're staying, but they need the itinerary as far as the confirmation of your trip, the flight that you're taking, what day you're taking the trip, what time you're taking the trip, the time you'll be returning, and the day you'll be returning. So they have that you're actually flying. You're not just trying to cahoots them to give you your passport when you in actual reality don't need it. So upon talking to him, I asked him if there was a way I can get an appointment with the New York facility. So what he did, he took my itinerary, he emailed it back to both the New York and the Philadelphia location. Now, the reason that I had to go to Philly and not New York was due to the simple fact that New York, they only did it in dire emergency purposes, if that makes any sense. And then he also explained to me the Philly location, I was able to get an appointment 2 days before it was time for me to fly out. With New York, it could have been the day before. So he sent it over to both the Philadelphia and the New York location, and then I was able to confirm the appointment with Philly. This took about the span of a week and a half for me to get everything cohesively done. He called me, let me know like, hey, I wasn't able to get you an appointment with the New York location. Would you still like to proceed with the Philly location? And I was like, yeah, that's fine, no problem. When will they be contacting me? He told me that they'll contact me once we're able to get an appointment, but usually it was the same day. And lo and behold, your girl was able to get an appointment set the same day. With that being said, we're gonna fast forward until the day, the getting of the passport. Philly passport agency, it was an hour and a half from me. We left the house by 6:30, and we got there pretty early, like 7 to 7:20, around that area. They confirmed my appointment. Let's put in air quotations, appointment. There was already a line outside. There was a group of 4 families ahead of me. So I'm like, okay. And I'm in my head, I'm like, I have an appointment. Maybe they just standing outside just to stand because they don't have an appointment, which that was true for some of them. However, my dad was like, no, get out and go stand in line. As I'm standing, like there's more people coming. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe they don't have an appointment, genuinely. It was a lady walking by and she asked somebody in front, like, do you have an appointment? And they were like, yeah. And I heard her say like for 8 o'clock. And I was like, okay. So then she walked up to me. She's like, are you in line for the passport agency? Like, do you have an appointment? And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, what time? I was like, 8 o'clock. She was like, oh, okay, thank you. So in my head, I said, that lady had an appointment for 8. I got an appointment. So you mean to tell me all these people in line got an appointment for 8? The thing I did come out is the whole line. So I'm gonna tell you everything that you need. And when I tell you, you need to bring your whole life. For me, always start with just state ID. Bring your old passport. You also need the itinerary. Bring everything that you had to send over to your senator. Everything, bring that with you. Everything needs to be printed, may I add. Everything needs to be printed. Then you will bring your birth certificate with you. Print that out. When I say, like, the things I'm telling you, print them out. Bring the original. That's what I'm saying. It's important to have envelopes. Have one that says original. Have one that says copies. You always need copies, and I say do copies because it make it easier for them so you can get in and out, so they don't have to go to the printer because they like to take their sweet time. Let's keep it about places like this, the DMV, passport agencies, they like to take. I say don't bring anything with you besides the paperwork. Like I said, if you are with somebody else, leave everything else in the car. Bring your ID and your paperwork with you. I suggest you print out the confirmation. They usually send you the confirmation by email. Print that up because they also ask for that when you're going in the first time, and then you have to go through obviously like the metal detector or whatever, and then they bring you into the room. Depending on how many people is ahead of you, you'll go to one of the windows and you'll have to give her all of your information. Once you give her all your information, then they're going to send you down to another window. That window, you'll be giving all of your information to them once again, and then I guess they'll be confirming everything, and then that's when you sign the documents that they need you to sign. It's just like 2 signatures. Then you'll have to make the payment. Like I said, I paid $225, and then after that, she told me to come back between 2 and 2:30. I was done by 8:30, 8:45. So we had a lot of time to kill. But that was about it as far as the process of getting the information. We went and ate at Sabrina's Cafe, which was pretty good. And then Philly is nowhere to park. Let's keep it a buck. They want you to pay for parking. There's nowhere to park. So we were like up and down the street. So we just kept hopping until like it was around 12:30, and we started getting like anxious. So my dad was like, you know, just go at like 1 o'clock. So I was like, okay. So I go there around like 1:15, and I go inside, and she was like, oh, are you here for, you know, the pickup? And I was like, yeah. She was like, 1:30, sweetie. I was like, okay. 1:30. Like I told you, the lady told me 2:30. If that was the case, I would have been waiting in that line for a minute. Now, bring your ID back with you again. I did not. I asked her if she knew me because we had like a little connection, a little cute 2-second connection. No, we like this, we stick together. But she was like, no, sweetie, like, we need your ID. So I had to get out of line. I was like 3rd in line, y'all. I was 3rd in line. I had to go run back to the car, get my ID, come back in. So make sure you have your ID with you. They also, when you pay, they give you this slip. They give you 2 forms. They give you the receipt, and then they give you the pickup notifying receipt or whatever. You have to bring that with you. And I guess as well as your ID. The lady didn't tell me that. She just told me to bring the receipt back in. Bring your ID with you as well, and the slip that they give you after you're done paying. They only had 2 people working. 2 people working. I had to wait in line, and they, you know, you give them the slip. They show you like your passport. You just have to make sure it's you, and then you're on your married experience. If you guys have any questions, if I left out anything, if you want more details, just comment below and I can answer you guys. I don't think I missed everything. That's literally all that I had to do. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.